Welcome everyone to the Detroit Children's Museum. I'm here with Mr. Don, who's behind the camera. My name is Mr. C, and please, thank you so much for joining us for another video. We are here doing a STEM video with you today. Present some STEM ideas: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. My favorite topics, okay? Hey, have you ever been somewhere in the world, or even in our own country, where you experience engaging with other people that they don't speak your language? It's awfully hard to communicate, isn't it? There's some things you could do, some hand gestures, maybe they even speak a type of sign language, but it's awfully hard to communicate if you don't speak the same language. Well, keep that concept or that idea in mind as we dive into this project. You're going to love it. It's simple in materials, easily gathered materials. You see the shoes I have here. You can do this very nicely at home or at your schools, and I've tried this activity with my students, 8th graders at the time. They absolutely loved it, okay? Get them busy on STEM education. Today we're going to answer the question, can engineers use their feet for measuring? Have each family member measure the length of the tape line using their own feet. What we've done here is we have a measuring tape along the table here. I think if it's about 7 feet that we have from 0 to here, 7 feet. That's the 7-foot mark right here, okay? Do this by walking heel to toe along the tape and counting the number of foot lengths from end to end. So what do I pick here? What do I pick? We have a wooden shoe from our collection, Holland. We have a shoe that was woven in some type of basketry art form. I'm not sure, is this Indonesian? Yeah, Indonesian, okay. Good guess, Mr. C. Mr. Don's nodding yes. We have a Detroit Pistons basketball team member shoe, donated back a ways ago. And we have another Detroit Pistons, all right? So we're gonna measure the same distance, 7 feet, using these different shoes, as you would in your homes or schools with the different feet, shoes of your family. And Miss Penny's shoe, Don's beautiful, my future boss, Miss Penny's shoe. So which ones do you think I want to use? Well, let's do this. I'm going to pick, I love blue. I'm going to pick this one. And I'm going to compare this one. How many of these will measure along the 7 feet or encompass 7 feet in length? How many of these shoes lengths? And how many of these? Okay? So right now what I'd like you to do is pause and make a prediction. How many of these would it take to get 7 feet in distance versus or in comparison to how many of these would it require to measure 7 feet of distance? So we know the distance. Even if you didn't know the length of your measuring tape or your piece of masking tape on the floor, you still can compare, okay, how many at a certain distance. But you must have a beginning and an end point. Did everyone get the same number? Why is it important to use standard units for measuring? We'll get to those 2 questions on step 2 and step 3 of this activity, but you want me to do it, right? Okay? All right, so let's start with here. Okay, I'll start with the piston shoe. This is from the Detroit Pistons, by the way. They've been very generous to Detroit Public Schools Community District and ourselves here at the museum for a long time now. We start there at the end. So that's 1. That's 2 Detroit Pistons shoes. 3 Detroit Pistons shoe. 4 Detroit Pistons shoes. 5 Detroit Pistons shoe. See how I'm making a mark? You don't want to leave it. You don't want to pick it up until you make a mark. 6 Detroit Pistons shoe. And the 7-foot mark is just 6 it is. 6 exactly Detroit Pistons shoe lengths equal 7 feet. Okay, so you may have predicted 4 or 5. Check your predictions. It's okay to be incorrect. Okay, there's no prize, we're winning here, but you are learning because this is a point, communication. Communication amongst everyone in the world that does activities, okay? Scientific activities, engineering activities, you must communicate. You must speak the same language. Now, Miss Penny, you need to start again. That's 1. That's 2, Miss Penny's shoes. That's 3. That's 4. That's 5. That's 6, Miss Penny's shoe lengths. That's 7. That's 8. That's 9. 10. 10. I'm going to call it 10 and a half. Miss Penny's shoe lengths is equal to 7 feet. Okay? Same distance, but different number of shoe lengths because the size of the shoes are different. They're different lengths to begin with. So, what's the point of all this? We must use standard units for measuring. It does not matter if you use centimeters, inches, but if you want to communicate with another scientist, another engineer, another mathematician from anywhere in the world, you must use a standard unit. And that would be the metric system in the case of length. It would be the meter, or any derivative thereof, the centimeter, the decimeter, and so on, millimeter even a nanometer, 1/1000th of a meter. All over the world, scientists, engineers, and mathematicians know that there is a standard unit of measurement. For length, it is the meter, not the inch, the meter. So that if I'm doing a project and I'm measuring, in an engineering project, I'm measuring the length of the materials that I need, Germany understands me. The engineers in Morocco understand me because they're also using the same standard unit of measurement for length, the meter, in the case we did length. That would be the same for time. It's the second. The same for volume, the liter. Anything you measure, anything you do in science, technology, the engineering, the mathematicians, the mathematics, they must use the same language. Otherwise, you can't communicate. And what you develop, what you think of, what you conceive, what you build in like a prototype may not be able to be repeated in the other parts of the world very easily to see if what you discovered is good for the world, good for people, good for the environment, good for animals that we share the world with, whomever, whatever. So communication is the key, okay? Now, a bit of engineering connection. The engineering connection for this type of activities, when people talk to each other, like we mentioned in my story earlier, speaking the same language helps them to understand each other. This is also true with measurement. It is important that the unit of measurement, such as 1 foot, in this case we would use the meter as far as standard around the world, means the same thing to everyone. That is why we measure length with a ruler that has a standard length for 1 foot, instead of letting people measure their own feet that are all different sizes, like we showed here in our activity. Accurate measurement is essential in engineering, as I mentioned previously. Engineers use accurate measurements to help them draw, design, construct models, and give instructions to the people who will create or build a product the engineer has designed. Well, I hope you enjoyed our activity, our STEM activity here today with Mr. Don and I. From the Detroit Children's Museum, I'm Mr. C. Thank you again for joining us. You're so kind to us for support. Check out our Facebook page, Detroit Children's Museum, and let us know how we can serve you, okay? Put us to work. Goodbye.